then kind of deploy. We're going to build and deploy to AWS, a Node API, Node REST API. So we got a bunch of people in here I have to before. So introduction, my name's Sonny. I am a senior developer for Ashley Furniture, and I have been in the industry for about 7 years. I graduated Louisville for the first time in 2019, I believe, and came back a few years later as a mentor. Really appreciative of the program. It completely changed my life, so I love to give back as much as I possibly can. They needed some speakers. They were kind of buying for some speakers, so I volunteered to do the next 2 until we got some more people on schedule. So that's why I'm here. Last week we showed how to host the front end application, and if we have some time, we'll circle back to that. And we're going to show how to build and deploy the back end. We're going to use Node.js and Express, and I'm going to thank you, Monica, for sharing links. I'm going to be sharing links as we go forward. So let's get started with building our API. So let's start it running on our local. So we're going to call this the API. We're going to call it the API, and it's going to be an API. And we'll just create that. We're going to skip the get ignore. We're going to skip the license. We're going to skip the README because we're going to do that ourselves. Select the owner. Who's that guy? Here we go. I'm kidding. I know who that is. Open my swatter up. All right, so let's DoorDash. I can keep out for that. Let's go here. I'm going to go in the terminal. I'm going to go to my folder that I put all this stuff in for Louisville, which is class. I'm going to do git clone. Go in here. I've cloned an empty repository. And then it's called, I forgot the name of it, API. Oh, yeah, duh. It's a great name. We're going to open the bad boy up. Wrong screen. Here we go. And now we're going to get started. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go to Express. Express on GitHub, fast, unopinionated framework for Node.js REST APIs. Hands up in the chat, thumbs up. Give me some type of emoji if you've never heard of Express or never used it. Just want to see like how much I need to explain this part. All right, never used it. Okay, so I'm assuming that everyone else that haven't gave me a thumbs up so far knows how to use Express, and that's going to determine how. Okay, awesome. So I know I need to explain this more. Thank you, everyone. So, all right, so Express is let's just dive right into it. So I mean, let's do it this way. Let's do it a funky way. Let's do npm. Let's do it like a weird way. Let's see what we can get. So the first thing we need to do in an empty project, we want to be methodical here. Since I'm not following a script, I need to have a process. This helps me when you have habits that you can fall back into when you're programming. It'll help you be more effective. So what I like to do is, one, I like to document my thoughts. So I'm going to do touch readme.md, and I'm going to say, what am I doing? Don't know. I'm kidding, I know. So let's zoom in here. And so first, we need to set up an Express project, start the server, dig into the node modules and see what Express. That's what we're going to do. That's not how you spell Express for your information. If you don't know what node modules is, I need somebody to tell me what node modules is. If you haven't been in a web mentor session with me, one rule I have is if you don't know something, you have to look it up. Just immediately look it up. That's a great habit to have as a developer. Is just be like, I don't know what that is. What is it? So somebody tell me what node modules is. I'll be waiting. No rush, no pressure. But someone let me know what node modules is. All right. So so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna set up an Express project. So I mean, I could look like how to set up an Express. I can't spell it all. How do I get it out? Set up an Express server. I like Medium. Sometimes the documentation is a little bad for taste, but I'm going to go to Geeks. So the first thing we need to do is npm init. Write this and a Node.js application because your Express server will work inside the Node application. Oh, that's a great explanation of why you need to do npm init. Always ask you for a few configurations. That's a great explanation. npm init. It's going to ask us for some stuff. Maybe. Okay, so the name of the API, the package name. We're creating a package right now, a node package. So I'm going to call it that. That's fine for the version, the description, and API. Duh. Entry point index.js, test command. I'm going to skip that one. Git repository, that's good. Keywords, API, and stuff. Did I forget my name? What was I doing there? Just gonna come with a joke. Is this okay? Yes. Okay, cool. Telling me some stuff here. Usually you want to read that. Saying I can update my npm version. I'll go ahead and do that. This is not my. This is my. Oh no, bad no. Oh my goodness, got an error. Let's go in here and open this up. So it says bad engine, unsupported engine, not compatible with your package of your version of Node. Required something greater, a Node version greater than 18 have. My actual version is 16. That's my default that I fall back to because I work with some really old projects. But I have a project called, a thing called NVM, Node Version Monitoring. So I'm just going to pick one of these versions. I just fall back to 16 as my default because it works for me with the projects that I use. So I'm going to say NVM use. And it's going to be really slow, but it did it. And now I can say I can say node version. Node 20. It was 16 a second ago, I promise. So now we're going to do npm install. And then I'm going to see if someone said what node modules is. Kyle, that's what I'm talking about. Node modules are the blocks of encapsulated code that communicate with external application on the basis of the related functionality. Yeah, so in the software world, people that are way smarter than you, usually who build things on the network level or frameworks that make you then enable you to build things easy without worrying about the complexities of building things like Express. It helps abstract a lot of complexity related to building Node.js server applications. So we're still setting up an Express project. We have package JSON. Let's see what we have so far. So we created a module. Packages. Why is it D? That is really confusing. I'm sorry, that looks weird. I'm gonna delete that. I just never seen that. And I don't want it to bite me in the behind later. npm init -y to save us some time. I'm gonna do -y. I think it's because I had an old version of that. All right, so cool. So now it looks different. I don't know if you all can tell, but it looks different. So npm install, which we don't really need to do yet. It says up to date. Second, all right, that's my definitely not DoorDash. Yeah. Totally unprofessional volunteer here. All right, we all got to eat. So node modules, we kind of know node modules is. Let's get our first node modules in there. So first, let's clean up so we took a step. We see there's changes here. So let's just say like git add everything. That's not what you would really do, but I'm just going to say git commit started the project. And that's a terrible commit message. All right, so the next thing we need to do here, go back to documentation. We need to install Express. So let's do that. npm install Express. So there's a project out there called Express. And it's built. There's contributors, people who built this. We can go into it. We can push period here. Period is a shortcut to open up a GitHub dev session. It's going to load for a while. Express is this super accessible thing that you can learn about. You can contribute to it. It's taken absolutely forever to load. But essentially, I just want to go like to index.js. So let's look at this index.js. And it exports this lib express. So we go in here, lib express. There's a bunch of stuff in here. So we can kind of see what it does. We're not going to dive deep into it right now. But basically, it's a framework for building Node.js applications. So we installed it, and now we can see that we have as a dependency Express.js, and now we can use it. So let's scroll down here. We have an example here. So now we're gonna wait a minute. It says 516. It says 516 change that we made, and that's weird. We don't want to see that. So there's so much things that we installed here, but one thing, if we find it, is Express. I have that same project here. So you saw the index file, right? So we installed it, right? Now it might have been built, folders and files may have shifted around before it was deployed to an environment for us to install, but we have that GitHub repository installed. And now we have that stuff there, right? But like we don't want to like share Express code. The Express code lives here. We don't want that to be something that we track in version control. So what we'll do is we'll create a git ignore file, .git ignore. And here we'll say, let's close out of this. We'll say ignore the node modules folder. Right now, avoid that for us. Awesome. And we have 3 changes. Awesome. So now we want to do, now that we're ignoring that, let's create a file called, let's just call it XJS. That's what you always do. Let's switch it up, server.js. Why not? And then let's go in here to this here and switch this to server.js. Yeah, why not? Cool. We have server.js, and now we need to follow the instructions here. So the first thing is we need to import Express. So I'm going to say import Express from Express. This is ES6 syntax. It will be the same as doing this. Require, be very similar to that. We're going to say const. We're going to const app equals express, which is a function that we're going to invoke, and that's going to do some stuff. And then we're going to say app.listen, and let's see what happens here. So let's hover over this. It says a node, it says this listens for connection. So a node HTTP server is returned with this application, which is a function. That's the app on line 3. With this application as a callback, if you wish to create both HTTP and HTTPS, okay, we don't need to know all that. All right, so now the first thing you specify is a port here. So hover over this. It says in this function, it says it takes a. It doesn't show me in a way that I can explain. Let's see here. App.listen. Okay, well we just put in a port, so we're going to 3000. We could do 3001 if we wanted to, or 2. A lot of times you'll see people do 3001, 3000. Then we need to pass callback function. So we're going to pass in a callback function, and this is just going to execute once the server is listening. And we're going to say console log listening. Okay. I can't misspell it because I can't use that type of string like that. All right. So then we're going to run this. We're going to run this by saying node server.js. Oh my goodness. Module. Okay, so I can fix that really quick, but I don't feel like it. Const should do express equals require these express. All right. Remember what we have to do E6. Embarrassing myself right now. Okay, listening. All right, it's listening. First endpoint we're going to implement here. Down here, so now with all this we have created and run a server successfully. If your server is not sending some error, finally after you run, open the URL, and it will show you cannot get because you have not configured the application. So let's do localhost host 3000. That's the port that we're running on, and it says cannot get. So we haven't created any routes in this application. So if you go to like any API, we can find like any API documentation. Let's say like Azure DevOps documentation. Or wait, let's do fake. This is super easy. Fake store API. Yeah, so like if you go here, read the docs, get our products. See, we have fake store API. This is the domain name, just like localhost, and then you have like /products. So with Express, it's similar to how you have like a project, right? So I can go here, I have another project, repositories, one of my students' projects, Heather's project here. Well, I'll do mine. I forked her project. Click here. You can see here that we're in the first folder, and then we can go like HTML, and it's the URL is following the path, the folder path of the project, so relative paths. So we're going to create a path here, a route handler for Express for request to. So we're going to say app.get. So when we have a GET request with the file path or route or endpoint path of v1 health, and we're going to execute some logic. So we're going to call a callback function. And this callback function, you can see here, is a request handler as a request. And then the next parameter is a response here. And it's hard to read, probably. We're going to say request and then response. And then we're going to add this callback function, and it's going to say response dot send true. All right. And let's see what this send function does. So it sends a response. Wow, that is a great documentation, great explanation. So localhost 3000 v1 health. Cannot v1 health. App.get v1 health. Cannot get. If that's okay. Oopsie. We made changes. We have to restart the server. All right, so we'll refresh this now. Now we get true. The response is true. So since we have to do that, since we have to refresh every time we do changes, let's install a dev dependency. This is going to help us. So someone also committed some time, well, a bunch of people committed some time to making this project here, which is focused on not having to restart your project because it'll automatically restart when file changes are detected. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to say stop the server. Let's say npm install nodemon -d. All right. Look at the package JSON, and we see we have dependencies and we have dev dependencies. What's the difference between dev dependencies and dependencies? If you don't know what you must do. So now we're going to say, instead of node, we're going to say mom server JS, and now it's going to restart for us every time we make a change. So we have an API. It's working on our local. We have health. So let's go ahead and move on to the next thing here. We need to deploy this. So we have that. We set up our project, started the server, and we kind of dug into what Express is. And we went to node modules and took a peek at it, kind of have an understanding of what is going on in those node modules. So now the next thing we need to do is create a server in AWS and SSH to it. All right, so first, let's stop our server. We don't need to run it here anymore. We're going to run it somewhere else. So we created a, so we can say here, stage these changes. And our commit message can be created server and implemented a health check endpoint. All right, so now we're going to push origin main. Let's get to the fun stuff. All right, so our server code, it ran. We know what port to run it on. We're doing great. We're almost done. So now we need to log in AWS. Let's close out some of this stuff. Close out of that, close out of that, close out of that, close out of that. Or maybe we won't close out of that, or too late. Close out of that. All right. So we're going to do some remote development. Deeper to this, but simply put, what we need to do is to go on AWS. We want to go to EC2. Now, EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. So it's E and two C's. That's where they get the name EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. And we want to launch instant. All we're doing here is basically renting a computer. It's not more complex than that. We're going to call this the API server. Wow, I'm so bad at naming things. So we choose different operating systems here. I'm going to choose Ubuntu. And this is free tier eligible, which is awesome. But I'm actually going, just because I prefer a little bit more bang, a little bit more speed. I'm going to do T2 large. So T2 large with Linux base is 0.0928 an hour. So before we start, before we buy this resource or rent it, let's figure out how much we're renting it. So 0.0928 times 24, that's $2.22 or 23 cents if I were to keep this running for 24 hours. So now we need a key pair. It says you can use a key pair to securely connect to your instance. Make sure that you have access to the selected key pair before you launch the instance. So we're going to create a new key pair, and this is going to be called the API key pair. And please excuse me for my naming convention. So we're going to do .pim for OpenSSH. All right, so we got that. We'll keep that over there in the corner for us. And it says here, create a security group. So you have a computer out there, right? And AWS allows you to specify, are people allowed to connect to it and make requests to your server and access it. If you have a server that is hosting your website or your app API, you might want to let a bunch of people access it. You might want to let it be accessed for the public. You might only want it to access your specific IP address. Your security group allows you to configure a group of network rules and laws, how people interact or how requests can flow through your server. So we're going to allow SSH traffic anywhere. Oopsie. And then we're going to allow HTTPS and HTTP traffic. We'll allow those too. And we're just going to create and launch instance. And that's going to take a few seconds. Now, when this came out, this was revolutionary because before AWS and other cloud services, if you wanted a server, right, like you couldn't just push a button, have a server ready and configured for you, and have it ready in minutes, if not seconds. Just was heard of. In the past, you had to purchase the server for thousands of bucks, or maybe you needed a bunch of servers because your application is going to have a bunch of users. So now you're spending a bunch of thousands of bucks, and now you also need to spend thousands of dollars on someone to keep that application on there running, keep the network secure, keep the hardware secure, keep it at a certain temperature. Just much more complex. This lowers the bar of entry for maintaining servers and things. So it's running. So we can go in here. We can go in here and we can connect to it, right? So we go in here, EC2 instance connect really quick because it just allows us to show like how easy it is to connect to these servers. And so now we're in the server, and it's the same thing as this here. If I go in here and I say ls, right, and list all the files in this folder, it lists them out for me. It's the same thing here. I can say ls, right, or I can make a directory called folder, right, and now I see the folder. I can remove the folder. It's just a computer in the cloud. So don't get scared. It's really simple. It's just a computer in the cloud. So we're not going to connect to it this way, and we're not going to deploy to it using some type of automation. We're going to do something really cool that I learned recently, which is developing using remote development using SSH. So it's actually really cool. So all right, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to open up VS Code. Do we still have VS Code open? We do have VS Code open. So this over here, and we'll clear this out here. And we're going to go in here and we're going to install in our extensions. We're going to install something called remote development. So it's like, let's see. Get started managing extensions. Oh, this for okay. I'll skip that. We'll go there later. Getting started. System requirements. All right. So I'm just gonna. I don't remember the name, but it's SSH. And here we go. So we're gonna open up remote SSH and install that, and then we should have dev containers installed as well. We're gonna install that. And now let's see what we got here. We have Remote Explorer. Awesome. So we have Remote Explorer, and now we're going to sign in with the GitHub. Allow. So we're going to go to GitHub. We're going to continue. We're going to authorize all of that. Not even going to read it. All right. So now we did that. So now we're signing with AWS. We're gonna go over here and go into this EC2 and we're gonna click connect. We're gonna close some of these tabs that are in the way. And we're gonna run into some issues immediately when we try to do this. So SSH, let's do this. So first thing I need to do is I forgot, is I need to open up my folder. I need to take this key pair and I need to move this over here. But there's a problem. So let me hit escape. There's a problem. This is very secret. This allows anyone to connect to my server, but I want this managed in version control. I want GitHub to ignore it. Can someone please tell me how I can get this file to be ignored? It's all right. So we would use the ignore file. So if we want something to be ignored, we use the ignore file. So I'm going to say anything .pem, go ahead and ignore that. Don't even let it get up. Ignore it. So now it's ignored. I feel great about that. I feel secure again. And now let's get back to business. Let's get back to the regularly scheduled program. But I will tell you something. We're going to need to be in here in a second. I'm going to go ahead and get that ready. We need to be in the SSH directory, and we're going to open that up and move that over here. And I need to take this folder here, this file here, this API key pair. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it over here. So now it's inside this SSH folder, and it's just going to help me in this. So what I need to do is I need to execute this command here. I copied it. chmod 400 and specify the API key. I still don't really know what it does, but it tells you. It says, run this command if necessary to ensure your key is not publicly viewable. That's what it does. It's just some security stuff. All right, so we did that, and we'll keep that folder open for now. And then we want to go back into Remote Explorer. We want to add here, and then we want to take this connection string here. So we'll paste that in there. And to the SSH config, and then we will open the configuration to make sure it's right. And I cheated, and I have the example, so let's double check that that's right. It's not right. No, it's not going to be right. I'm so glad I did that. All right, so we need a few things. So we need to specify the user, and we need to specify the identity file. So the identity file is going to be this file here. So I need to say pwd. I need to do ls, right? And then I'm going to copy this over. pwd's print working directory to see where I'm located in the terminal, and then ls shows me all my files and things. And I'm just going to replace this key pair. And now, when I go to Remote Explorer, everything should be grand. Copy this again. Let's paste in here. Config. Why did it do it twice? We're in trouble. Let's delete this one. And let's say connect. And something might break. It might not. Oh, that's a good sign. Yes, we want to continue. Let's just do continue, hit continue. Oh, please work on the first try. Things never work for me. It worked. Never say never. Awesome. So what just happened? We used the Remote Explorer extension to log into this computer. This computer I showed you, we made a in this computer. It's just a computer. It just doesn't have a screen for us. And we remoted into it, tunneled into it. And now this instance of VS Code that we're using is running on that server. So if we go in here and I do ls, I think I deleted that folder. Yeah, I deleted it, but it would be in there. Just trust me. Just trust me, it would be in there. So so now we need to clone a repository from GitHub, and the repository is going to be called the API. And now we're going to make a folder in there. We're going to open it here. And we're up in there. And we're seconds away. We're seconds away. Yes, we're seconds away from having our server running. So let's go in here. You see the code. It's like we're just like last time. So node mon. Oh wait, if I look, I don't have any node modules, so I don't have Express. My app can't run without Express. So I need to. Oh, forgot about that. All right, so let's go ahead and we need to like just like when you get any computer, right? You need to install the things that you need to install. So we need node. So let's do node v nvm. So let's do nvm. Just install nvm. So I have a node. Oh, because I need to do this. Sorry, it literally tells me right there. I'm not reading. Now I do nvm dot version, and it tells me the NER version. So now I'm going to do nvm install. I'm just going to copy this one. Let's do the latest version. That's what LTS means. Latest version of Node. All right, so we're installing that, and now we can do Node V, and we're on Node 20. And if you know, Node is like on version 22 right now. So latest is just like the stable version. So let's go in here, and now let's do npm install again. We're going to install all those dependencies. Now we can just do node, node mon. Why is that not working? So we're in the API, we have package JSON, we have node mon installed, but I can't do node mon server. It says node mon npm install. Let's go in here. Do I see node mon? It's right there. Interesting. Let's keep rolling and I'll go back to that. So node server JS. It says listening. Awesome. So it's running for us. It's running for us. And now we just need to make a request to it. We need to make a request to it. So let's go to our instances, back to the servers that we have in the cloud. And we probably want to do something with those security groups. Probably. So see it's running. That's good. We have an IP address for it. Public IP address. Let's click there. It says refuse to connect. So let's go into our security groups and let's make some changes because right now we're saying, so let's open this up, Launch Wizard 4. There's a security group it created for us and it named it that, Launch Wizard. So this is a security group. This is a security group. So it's telling us, saying like, hey, we're allowing HTTP requests on port range 80 from any IP address. We're allowing SSH from any IP address, and that's how we were to connect. And we're allowing HTTPS on port 443. But we don't have port 3000 enabled. We don't have port 3000 enabled. So we definitely want to edit our inbound rules. We want to add a rule. And we want to specify the port number, 3000. And then we're going to say any IP address. I could say only my IP address, but I'm not going to do that. So what we can do is we can preview changes. We can see what I did here. Okay, let me double check. IPv4, custom TCP 3000. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now we see that we're about to have request in port 3000. So now if I specify, remember we had to do, so if we go to like localhost, right? It doesn't do anything for us. But if we say localhost and we specify the port 3000, even though it's not running, it specifies a specific port. So that's what colon does. So we're going to do here the same thing. Even though we have a different domain name, 3000 cannot get, right? And that's because the server's running, but we don't have an endpoint, a default endpoint. So we need to do v1/health, and we return true. So it's that easy. We deployed the API. So now let's do some cooler stuff. Let's do some cooler stuff here. I have a real API. The first thing I want to do is figure out node mon. Node mon isn't working. No mon not working, command not found. Have you installed it? Sudo npm install gnode? I mean, at this point, I'm desperate. Come on. I'm looking for a green check. Might have passed it up. So when you're on Stack Overflow, you look for a green check. That's the person who posted it. They accept it as an answer. Sometimes they never go back, and you just find the people who voted. So that's one option, and then one isn't working. So let's just do this. Sudo npm install. Okay. You want to play around? Those not even. All right. Embarrassment from the mentees. All right. Node on server. It's not found. Okay, so sorry. So we're gonna have to restart the server after we make changes, which is slightly annoying. So we want to implement another endpoint, but this one, we want this one to be a GET request, and we're gonna return some data. Say like, let's say we have this database over here. I'm gonna say like const students. I'm gonna say like student Barbara. We got some data for Barbara. We got a coolness, 100%. We got Kyle too. Can't forget about Kyle. And then his coolness. Got about 101% there. 10.3% right there. And you get that extra 3% because you were on the first one. All right, so now, like, what are we gonna do with that? We got a fake database here. So we want to do like app.get v1. Wait a minute. Yeah, v1, and we're gonna have students. Am I spelling that right? And then let's just return them all. Let's just return students for a second. So we're gonna say request is the first parameter, response is the second parameter, and then we're going to say response dot send. Then we're going to say response, is it JSON? Uh-oh. And JSON, oh my gosh. 1 second. Express.json. All right, we'll go back in a second. So we're going to say response.send, and then we're just going to say student. And we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. So, all right, let's go here, and we're going to say instead of health, we're going to say, oh yeah, the server's not running. So yeah, that wouldn't work, right? I'm going to restart the server, do this again, and we get our student. But what if we wanted like one specific student here? How would we do that? So express parameters, express routing. I don't want to go to the how to handle parameters in Express. Here we go. Geeks for the win today. So it says understanding route parameters, web address. Route parameters are like in web address parameters like special slots to grab important values for the server. We mark these slots with colon and give them a name in the route. For example, user ID. Okay, so we're gonna do name. We're gonna do name. We're gonna say name, and then we're gonna say console.log request.params name. And then in the name, we're going to copy Barbara. We're going to put that in the URL. So I'm going to say that. So now we're specifying data. We have that. We don't have that. So because we got to restart it. That's so unfortunate for us right now. Start it. So we get Barbara, coolness. So we're sending the students again, and we can so log Barbara here though. So you can see it's like we're on our local machine still. Even though this is in production, people can use this and we can like make changes to it on the fly. Really powerful. So we're going to say students here, and we're going to return students. How do I return the name? Because this is a JavaScript object, and I want to specify the student that I want to return. So I need to access that data in this object. How can I say, like, is it like students like that, or is it like a dot? Is it like students Barbara? Like, how do I access that? Come on, give me something. If you don't know how, we need to be looking up how to access data from object in JavaScript. Come on, guys and girls, don't fail me. We got a few minutes here. How I got to put you on the spot. I need a phone friend. How do we access data in objects? An example. I need a link or something.
Would it be students.barbara?
What? Yes, I think. I don't know. I forgot. Let's see here. Students. Barbara. I think. But that okay. So that works. But we need to have like. We need to do like student. So we're gonna do like const student equals request.parent. And you're gonna say student dot student. We're gonna do it that way. You can do it both ways. And then we need to restart the server. We need to restart the server. So restart the server. There's a way like you can restart every time. I don't know what's going on there. Coolness, 100% for Barbara. And what if we did Kyle? Coolness, 103%. All right. So we built the API. We deployed it. It's on the cloud. People can use it. Few more steps, right? Like we wouldn't want this like IP address exposed. We want a domain name. We wouldn't want to have to specify the port. That's ugly. But right now, this is simple dry how to deploy an API the simplest way. So when you have your Cornerstone application that you're building, your Cornerstone project, you have API it only runs locally. Now you can run it on the cloud. With the next few minutes that we have a few minutes. I told you all that Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Platform, they're so similar. To me, they're the same thing, right? The same thing. So we're gonna deploy the same application in 6 minutes. We're gonna deploy the same exact application to Azure. But first, let's do some stuff here. Let's fix this. So let's say so the first thing we need to do, because this is safe, right? So we need to say like if so one, we need to do this. Like so we know we're gonna have params. We need to optional chain that. If you don't know what optional chain is, someone type and let me know what optional chain is. So we're gonna do response then student. We're gonna say student response, and we're gonna say no student, right? If we don't have a student, because sometimes we won't, we'll return response.send false. Now this is not the best, but let's just test it. So now let's try this. Instead of Kyle, let's say who else is in this chat? Who else we have? Stephen, Stephen. Uh-oh. What happened? Return response false. Uh-oh, what happened? Let's see. Console network 200. It's giving us a 200 back. That's not good. So let's say response.send, and then let's say status. 400, add request. Because people are using your API and they do a no-no like this, right? You need to let them know because it said 200. 200 means it's okay. It's a good request. So now let's do it. And we're still getting a, oh, so we need to do, if we need to do this, if no student exists in the object, because we're still specifying and it still exists. Oopsie. Node and server. I keep going index. All right, let's restart that. False, right? And then we give back a clear this. First the page. Stefan, get a 304. Okay, I'm doing something wrong, but yeah, that's how you deploy. An app. Does anyone have any questions while I try to squeeze out getting us on Azure? Just on Azure. So do like what is EC2 on AWS equals what? Excuse me for how I talk to ChatGPT. They understand me. AWS virtual machine. That's all I need to know. AWS virtual machine. Here it is. Virtual machines. All right, 3 minutes. If I do this, I need at least 3 clapping hands. If I do this in 3 minutes, Azure virtual machine, create the machine. Let me create it. Jeez. That doesn't count. I need another minute. They messed me up. Okay, so Azure subscription 1, new resource group. Fine. We'll call this the other API server. All right, AWS availability. Oh, excuse me. US. I said AWS. US. The US. East US. I don't even know where that is, honestly. Zone 1. Ubuntu. SSH public. You want to make sure we set the SSH. The key pair name is the other API server key. It's already created for us. That's so awesome. So review and create. Review and create. By the way, someone test this out. Someone tested the URL out. 2 minutes. Let's go back to Azure. It says you have set SSH port open to the internet. That's fine. Preferred phone number. Please don't call me. 502-876-0000. It's not my room. Create it. Download the private key pair. Look at that. Look how easy it is for us to provision servers. So now we need to move this one over here too. We have another. What is this? Oh no, that's the wrong one. Escape. I'm gonna go to the real one. Bring that over here, right? And then we're gonna say, uh-oh, we got 1 minute. We're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. We're gonna copy this one. We're gonna put it over there. Now we need to do the same thing. It's gonna tell us to, is it deploying still? Oh, go to the resource. 1 minute, we're not gonna make it. We almost made it. Can we get IP address? Where's the key pair? What am I doing here? So we connect. There it is, connect to that. There we go, connect. All right, so we're following pretty much the same exact steps. Using SSH, native SSH, let's just select that one. We need a chmod. What is that? It's not telling me the chmod command. Oh, here it is. So I need a chmod, right? So let's go here. Let's open that up. Let's do ls chmod, and then we have the other API server key, and then do that and that, and I think that worked for us. Oh, that's awesome. And now we need this port. Here it is, right here. Here it is, right here. I think other information. Copy the. So why is that the? Because that's the wrong one. So let's just copy that for reference. And then let's do ls, and then let's copy that, and then so we'll copy this again. We'll put that in a file, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do that, and then we got that there. And now we're 1 minute over. Let's try to do this on God damn it. Where is it? Remote Explorer. Here we go. All right, so now we're going to SSH tunnel into this one. SSH config. Let's open the config because it's not going to be right. Wow, it's right for Azure. It's so weird that this is the VS Code is built for Azure, and it's easy to use with Azure, but not with AWS. Interesting. So we have this one here, it's AWS, and we have this one. Let's see if it connects. If it doesn't connect, we'll just drop. Oh, that's good. That's good right there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think I'm 2 for 2 right now. Oh my goodness. I'm 2 for 2 right now. All right, so where's that at? It's right here. All right, now we need to do this. This is AWS documentation. It's the same thing. So we're gonna go here to the terminal. We're gonna clone a repository from GitHub. API, same thing. It's gonna open it here. 2 minutes. So I'm doing this in like 10 minutes then. It'll be 10 total. It's not too bad. Who was I thinking I could do it in 2 minutes? All right, so we're here. We're gonna copy that. We're gonna do that one. We're gonna do that one. We're gonna do that one. Copying them and dropping them in there. I'm not even reading. I did it before. ls. So now we're gonna do npm install I for short. Then we're gonna do, nodemon. If nodemon works here, then that's it. Azure's better. Fine. What do we need to do here? Node server. Yeah, running. It's running. And now all we need to do is to go to network settings. So they call it security group, call it network settings, and we need to say create a port rule, inbound port rule, ranges, destination port 3000, 123, and then priority and allow, and then we're gonna say TCP. Destination port, why is that I don't know why that's purple. I'm gonna say add, create a security rule, and now we're gonna say overview, settings, instances. Like, how do I go and connect to it? Overviews here, IP address here. Let's do this. Let's do 3000, 123, and let's say V1. True. That easy to deploy a server. It wasn't 10 minutes. It was like 9 minutes. So yeah, that's how you do it. Any questions? Someone give me one question. Make me feel like I did something good here today. There has to be a question. There has to be. Fix nodemon? Hey, don't start with me. You know, I got my food DoorDashed. Haven't touched it yet. So we're not going to fix nodemon, but I want to help improve understanding of anything, JavaScript, Node, NPM, anything we did except nodemon. Nodemon is off the table. I'll message you directly with what the fix is. I'll figure it out. I'm going to obsess over it, but I don't want to do that right right now. Someone ask me something, please. Someone ask me one thing. Ask me what is Express. Like, someone, come on. You learn something. If you learn something, you have a question. Difference between connecting to an API and making an API. What's the difference between connecting to an API and making an API? Can you ask me that, like, verbally? I want to get all the context I can. I'm not sure whether I'm not totally sure what you mean.
Right.
Hello.
Go ahead. I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's been times. So I've done like research on APIs before,
Yeah.
and like for example, I'll look at books that say how to like make your own API or how to develop an API. But previously, I had only like connected to like endpoints using REST APIs. So like from that perspective, I'm pretty sure like I just connected to somebody else's API that they created. So
Yeah.
like, are those two different things? Is
Creating
connecting to
and
the API and then actually creating the API?
yeah, so they're
Yeah.
totally two different things. And that's the reason that you said two different things, right? Because they're two different things, right? So you connect to an API, what's going on? You're making a request. So like when I go here and I go to google.com, in the search bar, I'm making a request to google.com. There's a server out there. So if we open up the network tab, let's clear this, let's refresh the page, google.com. Let's look at this. I'm going to open it up here. So we looked at google.com. We made a request, made a GET request to get Google, right? And then they returned this response. They returned it in HTML and stuff and JavaScript and things. That's it, right? That's a server. You either state it to a server or you request from a server for the most part. An API is a you look at it as the wiring that the electricity. Let's look at it like a nervous system. API, you have a computer, you have your brain, right? Computer. Then APIs is like it's like the nervous system. It helps you direct the input, right? The unit from the world. So in the internet, you have requests, and like how we go to our requests, our API, and we make a request here. It says cannot get because there's no path there. You can't get from us here. We don't have it for you. But if you go to V1 health, we have something that we can give, right?
Right.
So when you're creating an API, you have like a database usually, or you have like some fake data. And you're making that available through specific requests. You can't just like say, hey, give me what I want. You have to specify what you want by saying like products / this or whatever. So like to fake store API here. It's a good example. I love this API. Read the docs. We have to get our products. We have products, right? And it returns our products, or we can say get a single product, right? And we showed how we pass in parameters to specify we get one product, right? By ID here. Or we can say like, I want all the products, but limited to 5 products, right? So the person who built this is specifying how we can interface with that API. That's what API is, application interface program. Application programming interface to allow you to interface with the program in a structured way. So when you connect to API, you're sending data, you're requesting data, you're using it to build on top of. You're creating an API, you're thinking, what data is needed? How do I structure an API in a way that makes sense? It's predictable and follows the best patterns and practices and recommendations that are out there. design patterns and things like that. So they're totally different things. And I'll send you some stuff to help you kind of get a better wrap around this stuff. Is there any more questions before we drop? I know we're 10 minutes early. I appreciate it all. I mean, 10 minutes, the opposite of early, right? Not early, excuse me. 10 minutes late. All right. That being said, anyway, hey, like my direct messages are always open. Connect with me on LinkedIn, message me there. You know, Slack, ask me for any help or any questions. I'm here to help you all get to where I am. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.